towards Pret, I'd already bought my vegetable samosa from M&S, so I was just topping up, of course. I heard an alarm go off. Nothing unusual about that. It was an alarm on a van. Nothing unusual about that. It was a police van. As the alarm went off, a man exited the police van, closing the door and walking away nonchalantly, as if he was pretending he wasn't in the van. I turned the corner. I got a description fixed in my mind. 5'9", white, grey hoodie, black cap, looked a bit like Jurgen Klopp.
I think he's a man.
Yeah, pretty sure he's a man. I turned the corner. He did, but a less successful one.
Yes.
And there was a police car, and I knocked on the window and said to the guy, Hi, DC Corporal Policeman. There is a man round the corner in a police van, and the alarm's gone off.
And he looks like Jurgen Klopp. Is that a crime?
I'm so excited. And he said, would you mind showing my colleague where the incident happens? I said, that would be absolutely fine. Are we going to be on traffic cops?
Am I going to be late to broadcast on commercial radio? That is fine, actually. Al can do the first link on his own because crime is more important than radio.
So we turned the corner, we went to the van, and there was a police officer sort of closing all the doors on the van, and the policeman I chatted to said, is everything all right here? And the police officer said, yeah, I heard the alarm go off. I poked my head round and nothing was there. And he went, well, this member of the public, and you could tell he wanted to say this brave member of the public.
This steely-eyed,
yes,
mint hawk
on his rounds, said, he saw a member of the public in there. And she went, what? And he went, is there any uniform missing or anything? And she went, no, it's just a rifle van.
Whoa!
But apparently, it's just for training exercises. There's no rifles in there.
Okay.
And so
just a couple of BB guns.
They took the description, and the man said to me, "You have saved the nation." And
he didn't say that.
You get a special honorary commemorative medal.
Are you in the Met now?
And you are probably the best police officer I've seen. And if you don't become a policeman tomorrow, then you're wasting your time with whatever you do.
You see me compare around
He sort of said that with his eyes. With his mouth, he just said, thanks, mate. Next time, do call 999. It's amazing some of the stuff that people do call in as an emergency. Oh, yes, I made the right decision. I've enforced the law. I've interrupted crime. Because interruption is all part of it. It's not just prevention, Ellis.
That's just God. Those Sherlock Holmes books and all those Hardy Boys books you read as a kid have really come in handy.
I know. So there we go, folks. Now it's time for some music. This is the Libertines with Up the Bracket. Oh, I wonder what that means. Sounds like a euphemism. You're listening to Ellis and John on Radio X. Oh, Lord. Ellis James and John Robbins. Radio X.
By Kasabian, superb music for maybe a 10th birthday party. But you're listening to Ellis James and John Robbins on Radio X. John, Radio X. Sorry, Biscuit, I've got a tiny cold and it's going to affect the way I pronounce certain letters. It's doing it now. John.
All right.
I've got a couple of examples of sort of semi-regular thing we chat about, which is sort of people being annoying.
Oh, yeah.
It's like I want to sort of start a campaign which goes against the grain of a lot of campaigns, which is be normal.
Yeah.
Stop being weird.
Yes.
Members of the public.
Yes.
The first thing that really annoyed me, and this has been bubbling under for some time, and I exploded on Twitter about it last night, which I regret.
You did
top shelf language.
Right, okay.
Because people on trains who use instant messaging
and
the entire conversation
off your
who don't turn off the alert. So they're having maybe 60.
That happened this morning.
It's the worst. So you'd be sitting and in the seat in front of you, just did it.
Yeah.
Did it.
It happened on the train on the way in this morning, like to me, and it tends to be, especially people who keep their keyboard clicks on.
Yeah.
It tends to be older people.
Well, it
like
tends to
they
be-
don't know they can turn them off.
Yeah, it's either people who are so old the technology is a bit above them, or it's people who are so young they just don't.
Yeah, they don't think that's
give
annoying.
flying feet.
What I do like What I do like, though, what I do like is very old people, especially very old women, who have bizarrely incongruous sort of ringtones. Like, there's a woman on the bus, and her ringtone was like Hard House. And obviously, her grandson had done that to her, and she didn't realise she could change it. So when she took it off, she was about 80.
The problem is, like, when you first hear it, if you immediately just sort of leant over and said, oh, hey, you know you can turn that sound off, that would be, I think, okay.
Yeah.
But by the time you plucked up the courage to say something, in your head, the argument has reached, are you insane?
Yeah.
Have you lost your mind?
Yeah.
And you can't say that to someone on a train.
No, certainly not first thing.
The other thing that really made me laugh, and this was sort of like, I wasn't annoyed by it because it was so funny. So I was doing some writing in the week at the South Bank Centre.
Oh, yeah.
And we've written there before, haven't we? And the South Bank Centre is amazing because it attracts a certain strata of society who just spend their day there. And they bring along like so much stuff with them because it's free to sit there. They've got Wi-Fi, there's a cafe, they don't mind you, well, I'm sure they do mind, but they don't stop you bringing in your own food and drink. And this reached a remarkable hiatus. That's the wrong word. Anyway, so I was sat at a table. To my left, there was a lady on a table with two chairs. She was on her own. And a guy sits down. And he was probably, I'd say, 60s. And so he sits down. She's already a bit like, most people would ask before sitting on a table. He then gets out a tin of mackerel, a can of mackerel, a boiled egg, shell on, a plate, a fork, a sachet of salt, a sachet of pepper he's taken from the cafe, and a miniature bottle of red wine. He then, and you should have seen the woman's face as he's doing it, he opens the can of mackerel.
It's a smelly food.
Yeah, pours that onto his plate, which he's brought along himself, like Alan Parsons, it's an 18-inch plate, and then taps the egg on the table, removes the shell, starts chopping the egg up with a plastic fork, mixes it amongst the mackerel, and then sort of dusts it with salt and pepper like he's in a restaurant, and then just pours himself a miniature Shiraz into a plastic cup, and just begins a bizarre lunch.
Yes,
and this woman is there on her laptop, going in her head, clearly going, "Have you lost your mind?"
I mean, I've seen that sort of behaviour so many times in South Bank Centre.
Do you remember when we were there, and those two guys had their laptops, and they were making some kind of shake? They had a thermos and a bottle of ice, and they were pouring two things into this bottle of ice and constantly shaking it up.
I've seen a person there sit down with every single one of the newspapers, from the Daily Telegraph to the Daily Sport, and a bottle of wine. And I thought, you're in for the long haul. You're going to read every single one of the newspapers.
How is Andrew Neil?
Radio X. Ellis James and John Robbins.
It's time for Humble Brag of the Week.
Humble brag, it's humble brag. Humble brag of the week.
John Holmes played that jingle on his show, the show before us, and it really brought into sharp focus just how bad the singing is. But anyway, humble brags, John and I hate them. They're those things, those sort of boasts disguised as moans. John, what have you got?
So this is from Facebook. Doing 570 sit-ups and 960 squats was not how I imagined I would spend my morning. Thank you, wonderful friends, she said sarcastically. Happy face, skull face, sad face, hashtag better get on it.
What is the skull face for?
I don't know. And why do people do 960 squats?
That is too many.
It's too many.
Too many squats. Right, this is from Facebook. It's from a casting company. Now, a casting company, they're the companies that they suggest actors for productions. So if you're making, I don't know, the next James Bond film and they want to see a villain, they will put forward sort of 10 or 12 actors they think are suitable to play a villain, right? So that's what a casting company does. The things you have to learn to do in this business, geez. And it's a picture of a how to assemble your Emmy Award engraved plate.
Hey.
Yeah, what a chore that must be when one of the actors that you get commission on as well has won an Emmy. What a nightmare.
And our humble brag of the week, this I think is from Facebook.
This is an absolute humble brag.
It's the way it ends. Just had to call an ambulance for a girl who had collapsed at the station and was vomiting. Pretty intense. But what has really struck me as weird is that everyone else who was there was more concerned about cleaning up the sick from the platform than looking after the person. Jeez. Also, my single is premiering in like an hour. And I have to hand an essay in tomorrow. Weird evening. What's your single got to do with it,
Oh my God.
Also, I mean, I don't think singles premiere, do they?
Not anymore.
I know it's not. It's not in a time. It's not a time thing.
They did in 1968. It was Tony Blackburn would play them for the first time on Radio 1. But now they just download it. You just get them on iTunes and stuff. Do you know what though? I mean, the fact that there was an ill girl vomiting on a sort of train platform is literally nothing to do with the fact that he's got to sing. But I've just had this horrendous thought. Someone in his PR team was like, "You know what would be really, really cool PR? If you could be some sort of St. John's ambulance guy who also releases grunt singles."
I've got a feeling he doesn't have a PR.
Me too. Especially because he's got a hand in as well.
Although all members of Queen were educated to degree level. I mean, Brian May did technically have to hand in an essay about 4 years ago to get his doctorate.
Yes, that's true. Oh, that's an interesting text then. Bands with degrees.
Well, nowadays, I mean, everyone's got a degree because of New Labour.
Coldplay Met University.
Yeah, I'm sure many did.
Ellis James and John Robbins. Radio X.
As a very funny tweet said the other day, it's not because you cried when you were 17, it's because you live in Scotland. That was Travis with Why Does It Always Rain on Me? You're listening to Ellis and John. And now I'm a bit befuddled because
Basically, John tried to learn how to drive the desk in about 10 seconds. Dave manfully tried to show him. And I kept encouraging John by saying, "It's easy. It's what I do. It's easy. It's just a couple of faders, mate. It's like decks when you DJ." And John's like, "I've never DJed."
I think because producer Dave said, by the way, the decks are what the sort of the brain of the show. It's probably second to me. So I'm the brain of the show.
Am I then?
Well, you're the sort of
The groin.
the outhouse. The groin of the show. Oh. Oh. Ugh. Yeah, but in a way you are, because it's a totally non-sexual way of viewing the mid zone. It's like the way that a sports physiotherapist would view that area of the body.
Yeah, it's like when footballers get groin strains. It's not a sort of,
Oh, matron. No, it's like you're going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks.
yes. yeah.
So, anyway, I was a bit befuddled because I think producer Dave said, "Yeah, it's easy. Do you want to do it?" In a hope that I would then not ask again for another year.
Yes.
No, I want to see you have a go.
I don't think you do.
Okay.
I will mess it up.
It's now become painfully obvious to the listeners that we don't do any of that stuff. We just sit here and talk nonsense. Whereas Dave's the engine room, the midfield general.
He's the digestive system.
The what?
The digestive system.
All right. What are you talking about biscuits?
So, we've got an email. There we go, back on track. This is from Michael, and I like the way Michael has sort of structured this email. He's got it in headed, underlined sections.
Oh, headed.
So I'll take you through them. First off, background. Founding father here. I'm now on my second round of the podcast, which I listen to at work and on the tube. So he's gone through all the podcasts twice.
Okay.
I mean, I think, listeners, if you don't download the podcast of this show, that does speak to their quality. The quandary. While struggling to hold the giggles in, it occurred to me that why isn't everyone on the train listening to this Quallo broadcasting?
Good point.
Then it dawned on me. They all might be, but how would I know? This is, of course, a major problem, as every moment many potential friendships are slipping through the cracks. You must suggest potential ways of solving this and helping people connect in the same Radio X vibe. Perhaps a badge? Next section. Optional extras. My office has three.
Sound like you said in a box of Astra.
My office has three podcast devotees, so everyday classic Ellisisms and Robinsisms are spoken on an hourly basis. We started at the same time, and your show has made us good friends, which I thank you. You're welcome, mate.
Don't worry about it.
We come to you with a problem We come to you with the problem above, not with lack of trying to connect to other Radio Xers. We once spent a good few hours in a Shepherd's Bush bar asking everyone if they are on email.
No.
And explained its importance in modern day society. However, not one person found it The end. It's the final section. Finally, the three of us will be going our separate ways in a couple of weeks, back to uni/travelling. So I was hoping to get a shout out for the three long devoted fans, Michael, John, and Nat. We all cried when Ellis sang in Welsh. Oh. P.S. John, your TikTok Roberts monologue is my favourite thing ever spoken. Bye, Michael. Hey, Michael, thanks for that email. That's very well written, very well set out, and we're so glad we have joined you and John and Nat in Ellis and John Friendships, touching lives, bringing people together. But he does raise an interesting point. Some of you, maybe just sort of casual listeners to the show, you're tuning in, it's Saturday morning, you've got to water your basil plant.
Yeah, you're on the way to home base to buy some safety latches because you've got a young child and you don't want to get into the kitchen cupboards.
Absolutely. But for those of you who listen regularly, and you may want a way of, like a secret handshake.
Yeah,
like
a
Masonic,
Masonic sort of Radio X handshake.
So if you have any suggestions, folks, do let us know on 83936 or tweet at XFM, and hopefully by the end of today we can come up with a surefire way of...
well, it's like an identity badge, isn't it?
Yes, of identifying other Ellis and John fans,
like the
podcast
one
devotees.
Tom Cruise chucks into the sea at the end of Top Gun.
What can I get you?
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, don't you? When he chucks Goose's badge into the sea. No? Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Sorry, I've gone insane.
X, Ellis James, and John Robbins. Radio X.
This morning, due to a wonderful email from Michael, we're looking to find ways that fans of the show can identify each other in public. We're thinking maybe a badge they could wear, some kind of sort of mating call, a digital radio mating call, some kind of maybe...
just a sort of sturdiness, physical sturdiness and moral fibre.
Yeah, well, I think there's a classic Ellis James and John Robbins listener. They're, I would say, well-dressed.
Strong jawline.
Strong jawline.
Sort of cheekbones you could cut glass with.
Yeah, sort of affluent. A go-getter on the property ladder.
Yeah, mover and shaker.
They're a saver. They are,
yes.
They're a switcher.
Hello, Pegasus Lifestyle Management. How can I help you? Great. The aircraft is waiting for you at our nearest airfield. We trust you'll be happy, madam.
A bottle of wine in the South Bank Centre.
They love a Rioja.
Oh, well, I don't like it.
Oh dear.
I've got a theory that the more a bottle of wine is made up to look like it's expensive, the worse it is, and the Rioja is often guilty of that.
Sort of wrapped in netting, isn't it?
Yeah.
It looks like it's come from a pirate ship.
If you're... don't buy bottles of wine in netting is my number one rule of living. No, my number one rule of living is always buy branded Diet Coke.
Okay.
Never go own brand.
Yeah. What did you think of the Virgin Cola sort of entry to the market, late 90s? I remember doing a taste test at the news at 10. I thought, is this new? Seeing John Sargent to put on the street going, what do you think, Pepsi or Coke? You were going, how's Pepsi? Well, I'll fuck you, it's Virgin Cola. And finally,
Do they still do Virgin Cola?
I don't think so. I don't know what a Bronson's failed business is.
What are the other ones?
No, but he ended up, didn't he sell Virgin, the Virgin record label, and then it became V2, but he started again, because Stereophonics was the first signing to the V2 label, although they're obviously very big bands, so it's clearly got an instinct for showbiz. Well, he's never sent an email, Richard Branson.
Hasn't he?
No, he gets his PA to do all of that. He just sits on the beach and dictates. What a life.
Oh.
What a life.
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah, because obviously he was...
I would obviously wouldn't like to have never sent an email.
No, obviously not. But I don't think he has a smartphone. He just sort of sits and chills and comes up with business ideas, and then he gets people sort of minions to do that.
Well, he's dyslexic, isn't he?
Is he?
Yes, he doesn't know the difference between net and gross. But with a great story that obviously dyslexia doesn't need to hold you back. You might have your own island.
I don't think that's dyslexic though, if you don't know the difference between net and gross.
No, but that's just another disability he's got.
Yeah. I got an A.
Ellis James and John Robbins.
Radio X. Now, John, I was walking through Cardiff the other day on the way to my gig. I walked through a Christmas market and I bought you a little present.
Oh.
I'm going to give it to you.
Absolutely. That's very kind of you, mate.
Let me, basically, it's a present because I think about you every time I see this sort of thing. It's a type of super hot sauce.
Oh, great!
It's the hottest one they have.
That's called the end.
Yeah, it's just gonna end everything.
Usually they're called things like bum reaver. Sort of toilet type. The end. Bourbon and Buccioloquia Ghost Chili Extreme Hot Sauce. Is this the end, beautiful friend? And it's in the font of the Doors album.
Yes, so I went up to the lady and I said, what's the hottest one you've got? Because my friend John is very brave, or is it foolish? And she said, oh, this one. So, yeah, I bought you that. Now, it's interesting because there are certain things that whenever I see them, I might with you, which means that I would never, if you sort of left me, I would never be able to listen to Queen. I would never also, I'm always reminded of whenever people talk about the early onset of arthritis.
Really?
Yeah, because you've had problems with your lung region.
Yeah, it's not arthritis.
No, but you know, it's all in the same mishmash of back pain.
I think of you whenever I see black and white photos of men with some coal dust on their face.
Oh, yeah, lovely stuff. I think of you whenever I see anyone smoking electronic cigarettes.
Oh.
John the Vapist.
Yeah, be careful to pronounce that.
Yes, absolutely. So, obviously now I'm into spicy. I'm getting into spicy food, having had sort of an ultra bland diet for 33 years or something. So I think I might try a bit. I think I can.
Okay.
I think I can.
Well, we were thinking about doing a part of the show where we would build up your tolerance.
Yeah, well,
I've been sort of going in at the deep end.
It is, but I've been building up my tolerance in my own time. That's the
Okay.
thing, you see.
So we're both going to do this.
Yeah.
This might make for
bad
broadcasting. So just to bring the listeners in, it's sort of hot sauces are split into two main categories. You've got the ones that just use the chilies themselves, and you've got ones that use extracts. Now, as a purist, for me, the extract sauces are cheating, because it's basically like putting chemical hot sort of sensation in something.
Okay.
Whereas what I'm pleased to see this, Ellis, is it's just chilies. So it's got Buccioloquia, 7-pot chili, Fatale chili, and Jack Daniel's bourbon.
Yes.
So technically, it's the first time we've been drinking on air.
I considered not buying it because I know that you don't. Cause I know that whiskey gives you heartburn. But I thought, to be honest, a tiny amount of whiskey in the hotter sauce the lady was selling, I thought it's the least.
Well, I've recently solved that problem. My friend Robin, who for years was a spirit naysayer, has got into whiskey by just adding bits of water into it.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
I always, when I saw people do that, I sort of thought that was being a
coin.
bit of a coin. I was like, oh, you don't. But it's brilliant. It's opposite giving it.
And
Smelling the sauce, getting a lot of vinegar there, and getting.
I can smell it from here.
It's amazing. I think what we'll do is maybe we'll prep ourselves and take this in the next section of the show. Oh, it's making my mouth water. I'm so excited. We'll get some.
You got to secure
teaspoons. But right now, we've got music. This is Rhodes. So stay tuned to hear Ellis and I sample the end. That's another sort of metaphor for our mental state. But before then, this is Breathe.
Radio X. Ellis James and John Robbins.
That reminded me of Europe. You know the band Europe?
We did the fight.
Yeah, and Scorpions' Wind of Change. Oh, lovely. Rhodes there with Breathe. Folks, coming up, it's going to be Ellis and I and the hottest sauce available on Cardiff Christmas Market. We're going to be sampling a teaspoon of that each. And I think I'll put my money on me for having the calmest reaction.
Yes, But you've got to remember the journey I've been on.
Absolutely, mate.
You know, I mean, it's inconceivable I'd have tried it six short months ago.
Yeah, well, this is a bit like you starting five-a-side once a week for a couple of months and then suddenly being asked to play in the Champions League.
Yeah, which sounds plausible.
Yeah. I predict you're going to pull your hamstring doing this option.
Okay.
So, folks, stay tuned for that. We've also got music coming up from The Who and The Strokes. You're listening to Ellis and John on XFM.
Oh, no, you're not! John! Come on, mate!
Come on! Times have changed for the better. Progress.
Yeah.
Digital progress. I'm not afraid of the future. I'm going to embrace the future.
I know you like the past, but you can't let the present have the future.
Radio. Ellis James and John Robbins.
No, John. It's called End.
Yeah, and it's, I should give a plug to the manufacturers from the Upton Chili Company. uptonchili.co.uk.
That's right. Now, I never liked spicy food, but I've really worked on increasing my tolerance over the last 6 months. I started putting chili in everything, scrambled egg, risotto. I love it, right? But this is the first real test. This is Ajax in the Champions League. John is going to go first as the sort of the established chili champion. Here we go. He's putting the pot down very, very gingerly. Is he nervous? No, he looks excited. He's smelling it. I'm not going to bother doing that.
It's vinegary. It's garlicky. It's chili. It's watering. Chili. I'm excited. I'm about to get as close as I get in my life to a drug smile. Here we go. Oh, it's quite sort of quite watery on the palate.
Okay.
Garlicky.
Right.
Sort of catches you in the throat.
Yeah.
Heat's beginning to build a bit now.
Right.
I mean, it's a beautiful sauce. I'll be honest with you. I've tasted lots of things, but it's very pleasurable.
I've watched it foul, so
on YouTube.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a lovely level of heat.
Right. Okay. Now, bearing in mind that I didn't like, I once sent back a school curry. I was in year 11. So I said, I don't know what you put in this, but it is unacceptable. So here we go. And she said, there's nothing in it. I said, yes, that's sort of what I meant in a way.
Are you videoing this, Ben?
Right, okay.
Teaspoon video this. Isn't it vinegary?
No, it's fine. It tastes like normal. Normal. It tastes like a paste of normal. Yeah. Adrenaline levels. Medium.
It's adrenaline is the thing.
Oh, I can feel it in my eyeballs. I'm going to do some more.
Oh!
Yeah, hello!
Wow.
Things have really changed in my life.
There's a new man in town, and his name is Ellis James.
Hey, that was a mistake. Oh, no, it's fine, it's good. It's electrifying. It's changed my posture. I've never had food that's changed my posture before. Oh.
I could go for a bit more of it, mate.
Yeah, well, you're that.
Very chilled out sauce.
I'm going to eat some mango now. I'm going to stop broadcasting.
Okay, folks, there you go. Ellis, they're turning over a new leaf. A chili leaf. They have leaves, don't they? Yeah. As Ellis is now drinking...
I feel under my tongue.
Ellis James and John Robbins. Radio X.
Talking about my generation there, you're listening to Radio X, a show on which Ellis has pushed the boundaries of his heat tolerance by trying the End chili sauce bought from Cardiff Christmas Market.
2 teaspoons.
2 teaspoons. He's had some mango, he's had 2 glasses of milk, and he's had a bottle of water. It sort of looked a bit like he was preparing for a marathon, just sort of sipping water. Didn't want to take too much on board. And I have vowed next week, folks, to up the ante. I'm going to dip into my personal chili sauce stores and bring in something that will take his face off.
I feel fine.
You do feel fine, you don't look like your sort of eyes are a bit watery.
Well, it feels different.
You look like you just watched your daughter graduate.
Yeah. You know the cord that holds like your tongue to your mouth?
Yeah.
That is on fire.
Really?
But the rest of my mouth is fine.
What are you doing? Why? How did it get there?
I don't know.
Ah.
I think I swilled it to prove a point over something else.
Oh.
The rest of my tongue is fine, my mouth is fine. My eyes and nostrils and lungs are fine. My body is fine, but that cord is on fire. Fire cord.
We've had loads of tweets from chili heads.
Hey.
This one really made me laugh. From, I think it's a restaurant called The Plantation in Middleton. Like I said, try one of our suicide-strength medicinal curries made from habaneros. It takes you to a distant realm. I love the idea of a hot sauce taking me to a distant realm. I don't like the idea of anything taking me to a distant realm apart from illegal drugs.
Yeah, because sometimes I sort of think that life is like a ride I want to get off. I want to get off it and get back on.
I have a great new way of getting myself to sleep,
Yeah?
which is to imagine a pub, and you've got to choose 3 pump ales, 2 drafts, 2 bottles, 2 spirits, lovely stuff, and you just imagine the pub taking shape before your eyes.
Oh, yeah, and there's lots of brass.
Yeah, lots of brass. So we're also going to tweet...
Deals and I'll find the cords on fire. My mouth cord.
We are going to tweet a photo of Ellis sampling the sauce, which really sums up the vibe in this Radio X studio right now. But before then, we got music from the Stereophonics and Arcade Fire, so stay tuned. It's also Winner Plays On.
Oh, good on him.
Ellis James and John Robbins.
X Reflector by Arcade Fire. Now, the way I feel after that chili, all of the burning from my mouth string has gone, and I've just been left with this amazing endorphin rush. I feel like I've got a new body. I feel like I'm about to fight. I feel like I've gone in for an MOT and they've just given me all these bits. I just feel absolutely incredible. I am a chili disciple. I'm not a chili junkie like John, but I'm certainly a casual user.
Does that make me the chili messiah?
Yes, and I'm one of your... Yeah, I'm John the Baptist.
Oh,
Were they friends?
I got baptized.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Then I'll do that. I'll put some chili sauce on your forehead. we'll have a drink after. It'll be fine. It'll be nice. But anyway, now it's right. I'm delirious because I can feel that chili in every sort of pore of my body. It's absolutely wonderful. But now, it's time for the listeners, even hopefully, fingers crossed. It's together out. Yeah, sorry. It's time for the Census Beach Strong World Radio's Winner Play Ball. That's right. Every week, John and I, we compete on 5 questions on our chosen specialist topics, and the winner gets to play the chosen track of their choice. Should I win, I'm answering questions on Dixie Dean. I'll be playing Tracy Jack's by Blur. John, what do you answer questions on?
Everest and the sought to tame her peak. And my track, Should I Win, which I don't think I will, is quite a big topic, is Sheila Take a Bow by the Smiths. Ellis, heads or tails?
Tails for Peace Company Gumby.
It's Queens for Queen.
Okay.
I'll answer questions on Everest first.
All right. 5 questions on Everest starting now. Question 1. Edmund Hillary was the first man to climb Mount Everest. Which year did he achieve this feat?
1953.
Correct. Name Hillary's assistant.
Tenzing Norgay.
Correct, sure, for Tennessee. When was the first winter ascent of Mount Everest?
Hang on, the winter ascent, what, they actually came back, or the first attempt?
Well, they managed it, they actually came.
Okay, 1979?
1980. Oh! When was the first attempt to climb Everest using bottled oxygen?
1924
or 1922. Oh, John. The oldest woman to reach the summit achieved this feat in 2012. How old was she? This is incredible.
92.
She was 73.
Yeah, that's insane.
That is mental. Okay. Right. I'm so close. So many.
Got 2.
Right, okay, 2. I'm ready, mate.
Okay, 5 questions on Dixie Dean. Where was Dixie Dean born?
Oh, hold on. You need to text me. Yeah, sorry. Here we go.
Where was Dixie Dean born? Correct. How many goals did Dean score for Everton in all competitions?
363.
377. Amazing. Dean scored 2 hat-tricks for England. Name either of the opponents.
Scotland.
No. With what team did Dean...
Do I get a second go?
No. With what team did Dean finish his career?
Oh, God. It was an American team, I think. I can't remember.
Ashton United.
It wasn't an American.
So he's only got 1 so far. You need this to draw.
All right, mate.
Dean had 2 jobs after retiring from football. What were they?
He was a cleaner. And...
I'll give you that.
See, I guess it's one last thing. No, it's the pub.
He ran a pub called the Dublin Packet, and he was a porter for Littlewoods Pools.
Wow.
So I'll give you that. That takes us to a tie-break.
No!
No! And because we had our tie-break answers today before the quiz, he's very excited about this because I think Ellis's reputation for being a terrible guesstimator is not going to be changed today, Producer D. Am I correct?
Well, we'll find out. Let me just get the drone. Right, so I asked you both a tie-break question during the songs, separately. Yeah. So I've got an answer from both of you. The question was, in what year was the first curry recipe published in English?
Right.
So that's the first ever curry recipe published in the language that is English.
So, I mean, obviously, when you're looking to guesstimate this, you're thinking England occupied India for an awful long time. Victorians were into sort of into curry spices.
Yeah.
So they would probably be around that time.
So you're looking at the first ever curry recipe that was published in English. Who should I go to first?
Joe, maybe give mine.
Yeah, okay.
Give mine.
Well, the answer...
We'll give...
Let's give the answer then.
Okay.
The answer was 1747.
Oh, wow. That surprised everyone. Surprised me.
Yeah. John went for 1853.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
That is
I'm
embarrassing.
a century out. I am embarrassed.
That's quite far off.
Oh, that's terrible.
Al, on the other hand, went for 1968.
1968. Wow. The first curry recipe in English in 1968. Presumably, the curry houses that had existed in England until that time were just sort of using either guesswork or
It was hearsay.
traditional rumour.
Hearsay.
They were cooking based on rumour.
Rumour curries. You order a rumour curry and then you didn't know what to expect.
Now, you said you misunderstood the
I
question.
misunderstood the question because chicken tikka masala, the UK's national dish, that was invented much later than you'd think, and it was invented in England. It was invented in Leicester, I think, in the 60s or early 70s, and I got confused because I was thinking about chicken tikka masala because someone in Leicester said, "Where's the gravy?" and they'd come up with the sauce, and then it became very popular. So I was thinking about that and not curry. So I accept that I'm 2 centuries out.
I think I'm just trying to check out when the first curry house in England. I think it was 1810.
Oh, yeah. Well, we would have been vibing it like I do when I'm at home.
For a century and a half.
For a century and a half. It's a very difficult meal to pin down, curry.
Well, what a treat, because I get to play my song, which is Sheila Takes a Bow by the Smiths.
Ellis James and John Robbins. Radio X.
That was Sheila Takes a Bow by the Smiths, John's chosen track because he won Winner Plays On this week. Just to clear my name to an extent, yes, I know that the first curry recipe in English was published in 1747, but chicken tikka masala was invented in 1971, and that's what confused me. I was actually only 3 years out because I said 1968. The fact is, curry is a broader thing than just chicken tikka masala.
Someone's also pointed out on Twitter that were the first curry recipe to have been published in England in 1968, that would have made the creation of Coronation Chicken in 1952 a landmark achievement.
Yes, God.
I love Coronation Chicken, the idea they just invented a dish to celebrate the Queen.
It's not bad, actually.
What was the last new food to be invented? Probably Nando's. But like, what was like the first most recently invented dish?
It's funny though, because there are lots of things that people eat now quite normally that even 15 years ago were sort of very posh and weird. Like hummus is probably a good example of that.
I've invented American hot dog mustard and ketchup on toast, which is exceptional.
God. I mean, I mix those two things on hot dogs, but I would never...
Lovely on toast in the morning.
Oh,
what?
That's Welsh for... Oh, God.
Is it? What's
French for that's disgusting.
What's the word?
Achavi.
Oh,
if you're talking to a tiny little child, achapach.
Lovely stuff. We're laughing and learning. So what's your topic going to be for next week, Alice?
I'm... okay, Boris Becker.